Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be looking at a mystery of a book, Murder by Remote Control from Janwillem van de Wetering and the artist Paul Kirchner. This is out from Dover Books. I call it a mystery of a book because A, it is a mystery story, but B, they showed up in my mail, and as far as I know, I didn't order it. So if someone sent this to me, like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know this came to my attention because someone mentioned it in a comment on the channel, and was asking about if the art in this fell into the photorealist style that we were working in Strange Death of Alex Raymond, and said they thought I would like it. I forget who that was. I definitely put it on my Amazon wish list, but I don't remember ordering it, and there's no record of a charge made to my account on this book either. So I'm assuming somebody was kind enough to send this to me, and if that's the case, I really appreciate it. If Amazon just screwed up and sent it to me for free, then I'm really glad for that as well, because it's a gorgeous book, and I can definitely see why someone reading Strange Death who has also read this would look at it, see the similarities between it, especially some of the cool compositions that are in this book that we'll look at. But yeah, just generally, like, the art kind of matches the tradition that Strange Death was talking about with photorealism in comic strips. Now, in terms of like Dave's breakdown into the three major schools of cartoon art, the Raymond School, the Foster School, and the Kniff School, I would say this probably fits somewhere more close to the Hal Foster School. It's a little bit more controlled and a little bit less calligraphic, but there are a lot of similarities to a lot of the cartoon strips that grew out of what Alex Raymond was doing with the photorealism in Rip Kirby. So there's definitely a relationship. I skimmed the essay in the back, and Paul Kirchner was an assistant to Wally Wood, so that makes sense to me. He's coming out of the Wally Wood school, and to me that is like, it's a good mix between what the kind of more controlled illustrative stuff that Hal Foster was doing and the looser, more calligraphic stuff that Raymond was doing in Rip Kirby. So this seems like a good combination of them. Nice stark black and whites, not much cross hatching. This is where I think this is closer to like a Hal Foster thing, is it's kind of got the Brian Boland where the hatching comes out in like a cross contour mark across the body. The Raymond stuff would be more likely to do this, where the hatching goes parallel to the edges rather than perpendicular to the edges. So that kind of stuff looks more Fostery, Brian Bolandy to me. And then all of the cool screen tones throughout. And then you can see here just the amazing sense of composition that Kirchner has there. It's just absolutely stunning across all the pages. So the story about this is a simple murder mystery. It's set up right here in the beginning, so there's no spoilers here. You have this character. It's been explained to you that this is someone who's coming in and trying to buy property and open an oil refinery in a very, very rural part of Maine around a lake where there's only these 4 houses. And somebody flies a remote control airplane at him and hits him in the head and murders him. So that's the murder by remote control. And then you get a detective that shows up in town, and he's here to solve the mystery, and the local cops don't really want him involved, and it just goes from there to investigate it's kind of like an Agatha Christie. Here's the 4 people, there's a little bit of like red herrings here and there, and then it comes to a conclusion. So that's the story. The book was made in 1986. So that's, I think, a very... they make a big deal about that, in that this came out before Mouse. It's, something that was doing like something other than superheroes, something more like adult drama, things like that. So the suggestion in at least the essays in the book is that like this should be more recognized than it is. And I think that's the case. I don't think it's literary in the way that Mouse is. It's kind of just a murder mystery. I guess the writer Janwillem van de Wetering, Janwillem, it was a popular novelist at the time, but I don't see this as a particular literary thing. It's a piece of genre, like crime genre, noir stuff, murder mystery. So I get why it wasn't, accepted like that, but the art in it is gorgeous, and it really is something different, than the superhero stuff, even the really literate superhero stuff that was going on at the time. But Yeah, I could see why this just wasn't in line with what was going on at the time and why it didn't sell well. But it's a gorgeous book, and it should be celebrated. Something that I really appreciate about this book, and something I've thought about a lot in my own work compared to what I see in a lot of comics now, is that anytime Kirchner's drawing perspective, it's always like the verticals are very vertical and the horizontals are very horizontal. I see a lot of background art these days where it's obvious that they're using either photographs and they're tracing that slight tilt, like that very slight, instead of being like this, the lines are like this very slight 3 point perspective, or they're using a program like Google SketchUp, and there's a lot of those types of mild 3 point distortions in the Google SketchUp stuff as well. I have taken to going the lengths to correct that. If I have a photo that I'm tracing over or something, I'll correct that. And I think it brings like a classical stability to the compositions, which you can see in all of what Kirchner's doing in this book. There's something about that like really rigid hand done like stability of 1 point and 2 point perspective that I think locks down a composition and really makes it more effective. I've seen, 3 point stuff and things that tilt and used very well, but there's a lot of weird effects in background art these days that I see. And it's really, really refreshing to see someone who's like kind of cleaned it up and made it all sturdy. You can see as I'm flipping through just kind of the amazing compositions and the amazing art really jumps off the page. Beautiful, flawless reproduction of this. They must have had all the original art still, or the negatives or something, because I don't see anything about the reproduction that's problematic. It's about as good and as crisp as can be. It's on a nice glossy paper, which really makes the black stand out. It was a big debate for us when we were doing Strange Death. Did we want it on this glossier paper where the blacks would be richer, or on the matte paper? I went with the matte paper in the end because it felt a little bit older. This feels a little bit more contemporary, but I do really, really like the way that this makes the blacks pop. And so there's a little bit of like, maybe we should have done Strange Death that way. As you get to know the different characters, Kirchner will do these amazing compositions here where they kind of all spill together. Even if there are panels, there's always some kind of bleed, or like the character here creates the gutter between the two. Just fantastic designs all the way throughout. Really fun, like psychedelic repetitions to things. So that's really great all the way throughout the book as well. Just stunning stuff. Here's This is when I'm thinking, okay, this is made in 1986. I thought this was a real fun premonition of like what was to come in the 90s with the bullets and straps and pouches all over. I love this. This is the cop, and then just this whole thing here too. It kind of feels like 2000 AD influence must have been creeping in here as well with this kind of the black and white work, the kind of Boland vibes that I'm getting, the use of the tones, and then like a police spaceship like this. That seems like that was creeping in. And I'm sure that's the absurdity of that stuff must have been part of the influence of the absurdity of the Image Comics kind of generation. But I thought that was a really funny piece right there. And then Kirchner has a lot of fun as well with like visual metaphor throughout the book, especially with this police officer. As he gets angry, he'll turn into different kind of abrasive creatures. And you're not to understand that he actually turned into a triceratops here. It's just that like he's gotten really worked up and bullheaded. And there's some tricks like that a couple times where people's heads will swap out for animals and things. So I like the surreality of that. It's pretty much just there's no actual like supernatural forces or anything at work in this book. There's some hints about that kind of stuff, but it's really just a down to earth crime drama. But these moments of surreality make it kind of fun and like extra wild. Here's some more of these just amazing compositions. It feels very much like concert poster art or something from the 60s and a little bit into the 70s as well. So I don't, like I said, I don't know how I got this book. Maybe I accidentally ordered it, or maybe Amazon accidentally sent it to me for free. But if somebody sent this over, please let me know who you were, because I really appreciate it, and I would like to get you something in return as well. I guess I would probably need proof that you sent it, because a lot of people would claim that they sent it. I don't know. Yeah, if someone did send this to me, send me some proof and I'll get you something back. If not, well then I somehow wound up getting a free book from Amazon on accident. And it's a lovely book, so I highly encourage you all to go out and get this. This is Murder by Remote Control, drawn by Paul Kirchner, written by Janwillem van de Wetering. I think that's how you would say it. So yeah, really, really cool book, beautiful book. Very happy to have it. If you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel, there's two ways to support us. The first one is our Patreon. It's always helpful to have the donations through there. That helps us buy the books that we review, unless we get lucky and get them in the mail for free. And then the best thing to do is to support Living the Line Publishing and the books that Sean is putting out through there. So we'll take a look at a couple of those now. The Eisner nominated The Strange Death of Alex Raymond by Dave Sim and myself. This is a gorgeously illustrated and designed book. Dave doing most of the illustration. Amazing compositions throughout. What Dave is doing is he's recording his obsession with the death of master cartoonist Alex Raymond behind the wheel of Stan Drake's car when they got into a car crash. The best description of the book that I've heard is that it's like understanding comics with pages like this, mixed with something like From Hell, when you get into the theories about, you know, what actually happened with the car crash. And then with Sean on production, it's just one of the most gorgeously printed books you could get a hold of. The Exile by Eric Creek is a gorgeously illustrated Viking saga of revenge. Eric Creek calls it his Viking Western. It's about a guy who's been away on the warpath and is returning home to some family troubles that have to be resolved. And this is told in just this amazing, like, kind of 3-color art style that looks like old woodblock cuts or something. It's absolutely gorgeous book that you've got to pick up. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe